Coming up on MilCyberSync, this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. The call for unlikely teams forged at this year's DEF CON.
Also ahead, for the first time in U.S. Cyber Command history, a team of cyber elite have teamed with a Slavic nation to attack malicious cyber actors. Those stories and more, so get ready to get in sync with MilCyberSync.
You're watching the MilCyberSync podcast with Nick Thomas and Layla Guland.
Hello and welcome to the MilCyberSync podcast, reporting on the latest events happening in cyber news. I'm Layla Guland with your host, Nick Thomas. Great to see you there, Nick.
Good to see you, Layla. How have you been doing?
Doing just great. It's feeling cooler out already.
It's feeling good. It's time for that pumpkin spice, right?
Indeed it is. Can't wait. Well, just as a reminder for everybody, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, click on that notification bell for our latest posts.
And with that, latest in news, cybersecurity is all about partnerships. CISA Director Jen Easterly recently spoke at the DEF CON Hacker Conference to emphasize the importance of partnerships between the federal government and the hacker community to advance CISA's mission. Building relationships with an organization like CISA is an important step to fixing problems and creating trust between the government and all stakeholders. Easterly focused on the importance of manufacturing and technology companies putting cybersecurity as a priority in their products. Layla?
Also attending DEF CON, White House National Cyber Director Chris Inglis, who echoed Easterly's sentiments and asserted that the way forward for cybersecurity is a collective defense as the new offense. According to Inglis, there are 3 waves of attacks that have progressed in recent years. The first focused on adversaries holding data and systems at risk. The second, attackers still held data and systems at risk, but they then abstracted that into holding critical functions at risk. The third is an attack on confidence, as exemplified by the attack on the Colonial Pipeline. Inglis pointed to Ukraine's cyber defense as a good example of collective defense between their preparedness, collaboration, as well as the confidence and the resilience and robustness of what their suppliers are providing them. In addition to defense, Inglis highlighted the need for vertical and horizontal reconciliation for issues, as well as the need to focus on capital expenditures. Nick?
Meanwhile, the Army will be building 2 more Cyber Mission Force teams for U.S. Cyber Command this year. Lieutenant General Maria Barrett is commander of Army Cyber Command and spoke at the TechNet Augusta conference, where she stated the service is dedicated to beefing up the force in support of geographic combatant command's missions and the priorities of the National Defense Strategy. Barrett also noted that these 2 teams will be followed by 2 additional teams that will be stood up this year for Cybercom. Cyber Command has been approved to grow its cyber mission force in recent years from the initial 133 teams that conduct defense, offensive, and support missions. The majority of new cyber mission force teams will come from the Army and Air Force and consist of a variety of mission sets. Though it's early to tell where exactly they'll be assigned, Army Cyber Command is responsible for U.S. Africa Command, Central Command, and Northern Command. Layla?
Additionally, the Army is developing a pilot program to better train offensive cyber operations personnel across the military on behalf of U.S. Cyber Command to address readiness gaps. Offensive cyber personnel across all the services were not ready to perform their job on day one, so the Army has devised a new initiative which entails a distributed model where courses will be taught at locations in Texas, Fort Gordon in Georgia, Fort Meade in Maryland, and Washington, and is about 6 months to a year from being operational. The new curriculum and approach deals with evaluating the risk profile for operators on certain missions, the skills needed to carry out the high-end type of foreign intelligence ops that the NSA conducts are extremely complex given the types of targets and the need to go undetected. Nick?
Networking giant Cisco Systems has become the latest victim of hacking. The company confirmed that its hackers used a compromised Google account of one of its employees after the Yanluang ransomware gang added a list of files obtained from the company on their data leak site. The attackers obtained initial access to its VPN after successfully compromising the Google account. The credentials were synced through the Chrome browser, where the targeted employee had also stored their Cisco credentials. But researchers concluded that the attackers couldn't deploy ransomware successfully despite its successful penetration into the network and planting an array of hacking tools. Cisco has implemented a password reset across the company network and has created 2 CLAM antivirus signatures to prevent additional compromise. Layla?
Microsoft has announced another major disruption of an APT actor believed to be linked to the Russian government. The threat actor, identified by Microsoft as Borgium, has been documented since at least 2017, actively conducting cyber espionage attacks against military personnel, government officials, think tanks, and journalists in Europe and the South Caucasus. Their method includes cutting off access to accounts used for pre-attack reconnaissance, phishing, and email harvesting. Microsoft says the group abused the OneDrive service and fake LinkedIn accounts in campaigns that include persistent phishing, credential theft, and data theft. The group has also been caught using stolen credentials to directly sign in to victim email accounts and stealing emails and attachments from compromised inboxes. Well, before we go to break, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, click on that notification bell for our latest posts related to everything military, cyber, and cyber security.
And when we come back, women in cybersecurity are being asked to answer the call. That story and more after the break.
Today's network and security monitoring solutions are vulnerable to overload situations that lead to decreased visibility and undetected intrusions. Monitoring applications require hardware to keep up with real-time traffic analysis, making it complex and costly. Your security monitoring solutions may be unable to keep up during cyber attacks or traffic spikes, making intrusion more likely. A new approach is needed to increase network protection and visibility. Axellio simplifies and streamlines your network monitoring for critical security, network, and application analysis. Learn more at axellio.com.
Welcome back. Women from around the country recently attended the first ever Women Immersed in NSA Cybersecurity. Held at the National Security Agency's Cybersecurity Collaboration Center, women learned about its mission and the future of cybersecurity. Students heard a talk on disrupting nation-state hackers, a panel on vulnerabilities and cybersecurity adversaries, a briefing on the psyche of a hacker, and many more. The event was designed to detail and demonstrate NSA's mission to students emerging as the next generation of cyber excellence. More than 70 leaders from across the agency joined the students to share their stories of why they chose NSA, more than 90% of whom are women in cybersecurity. Nick.
More than 275 cyber professionals from across the Defense Department and other U.S. federal agencies are competing in the U.S. Cyber Command's annual exercise, Cyber Flag 22. This defensive cyber exercise provides realistic hands-on keyboard training against the activities of malicious cyber actors, designed to enhance readiness and interoperability within the participating teams. More than 15 teams from every Five Eyes allied nation are taking part, which includes an intelligence fusion cell from New Zealand, United Kingdom, and the U.S. to provide time-critical information and insights during the exercise. The participants are the cyber operators who are called upon during real-world events to defend their organization's critical cyber infrastructure. CyberFlag's next iteration, CyberFlag 23, will be in October. Layla.
Now an update to the Triad news we brought you last week. Army Cyber Command's new intelligence unit is providing critical insights in a rapid manner to a newly established triad between the service's cyber, missile defense, and special operations organizations. The Cyber Military Intelligence Group directs, synchronizes, and coordinates intelligence support for cyber, information, and electronic warfare operations, while also providing support to U.S. Cyber Command and other combatant combatant commands. It was created to perform functions not found anywhere else within the Army or intel community and blend open source information with military intelligence. The CMIG is already having tangible effects despite being so new. Nick.
When a pair of Navy information leaders decided to attack their own networks a couple years ago, they discovered the experiment showed that frequent automated red teaming revealed which vulnerabilities are the most dangerous and the easiest for an attacker to exploit with the highest impact. They discovered that treating cybersecurity like a checklist highlights whether the officer, team, or company charged with cybersecurity has done their job to some agreed upon level of performance. They say the Pentagon needs to measure its network suitability for combat the same way it does for soldiers, tanks, and ships, through the concept of military readiness. The process revealed a lot more information than just a list of vulnerabilities to be patched. They learned which vulnerabilities were the most important, the easiest to attack, and which ones let the attacker gain wider network access. This means that different vulnerabilities had a priority that a checklist completely missed. The team is now trying to get the rest of the Navy and the Pentagon to follow suit. Layla?
Well, the Federal Zero Trust Strategy is a recently issued memorandum from the Office of Management and Budget, which was sent to all federal civilian agencies and outlines the administration's cross-agency cyber investment priorities for the fiscal year 2024. It emphasizes that implementing Zero Trust and its modernization must be at the top of the list. The OMB noted that the goals of a Zero Trust implementation are about achieving a consistent enterprise-wide baseline for cybersecurity grounded in principles of least privilege, minimizing attack surface, and designing protections around an assumption that agency perimeters should be considered compromised. The budget directive is aimed at ensuring the agencies demonstrate their commitment to Zero Trust by reflecting it in their budget requests. OMB also points out that supply chain risk management is a critical capability to manage cybersecurity risk. Nick.
A team of elite defensive cyber operators deployed to Croatia to hunt for malicious cyber activities have returned with new insights and partnership that bolster the nation's defense. U.S. Cyber Command's Cyber National Mission Force routinely conducts hunt-forward operations globally with the purpose of learning adversary activities for homeland defense. The team, made up of U.S. military and civilian personnel, worked side by side with the Croatian Security and Intelligence Agency's Cybersecurity Center experts, hunting on the prioritized networks of national significance and looking for malicious cyber activity and vulnerability. In addition to countering the malicious cyber actors, the U.S. and allies gained valuable insight into adversaries' tactics, techniques, and procedures. Knowing these plans, capabilities, and tools further enables the U.S. and its allies to disrupt and even halt malicious cyber activity before it reaches friendly networks and causes significant harm. Layla?
Major General Paul Stanton has just become the newest command of the Cyber Center of Excellence at Fort Gordon, Georgia. To celebrate the occasion, Stanton's father, a retired Army 3-star and former Budget Director Edgar Stanton III, gave him a letter with a sterling silver Major General rank insignia pinned to it. The stars had first belonged to the legendary General George Patton, who received them when he took command of the 2nd Armored Division in 1942. As commander of the center, Stanton expects to oversee a change in curriculum, approach, and assessment strategy. Stanton previously commanded the service's Cyber Protection Brigade and completed tours as Cyber Command's current operations director and the schoolhouse's deputy commander. Nick?
And finally, the National Security Agency kicked off the 2022 NSA Codebreaker Challenge. The challenge gives participants an opportunity to sharpen their technical skills through mission-centric scenarios. The scenarios are similar to the type of work NSA does every day. Students who think they have what it takes or who want to develop their technical skills can sign up at nsacodebreaker.org to learn more about this year's challenge here. Well, if you're in the car listening and would rather watch, be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel. Find us at Military Cyber Professionals Association or MilCyber.org for all our content related to all things military, cyber, and cybersecurity. Be sure to like and subscribe and click on that notification bell for our latest posts.
Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching and listening. You're now in sync with MilCyberSync. We'll see you again next week.
This has been the MilCyberSync podcast, brought to you by the Military Cyber Professionals Association. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching us on YouTube, click on the notification bell for our latest posts.
Please consider donating to us. We are a 501c3 educational nonprofit charity with an all-volunteer staff. A great way to donate is through Amazon Smile. It will cost you nothing to use this service. Also, if you're active duty military or a federal employee, we are on the Combined Federal Campaign pre-approved list. Consider a one-time donation or spread out across pay periods. Every little bit helps. Our CFC number is 10386.